Welcome in, James Ham here, our 1320 Kings insider and creator of the Kings Beat. Give us all the news, James. I was really excited. I told everybody, De'Aaron Fox, we're going to find out coming up in just a couple of minutes if he's going to play. And I lied. I lied to everybody because, as you're aware, Alvin said game time decision. Did he elaborate any more though on Terence Davis? And I know he keeps talking about his wrist. He did that last night. Is his head okay?
Yeah, we didn't ask him about the head. To be honest with you, he does have it looks like a torn ligament, or I mean a torn tendon or something. Well, it's a damaged tendon, and so it's not a good spot at all. We're talking in the right wrist. It could be a while. They don't even know how they're pressing forward yet with whether it's like a surgery issue or whether it's some sort of treatment. They're going to have more looks at that wrist before they make any determination.
Man, that's tough. That's brutal. Have you ever gotten an explanation about, and I know it's been difficult because they're on the road, about what exactly happened with De'Aaron?
No, to be honest with you, at this point, I've asked. They said it wasn't anything. There wasn't an event, so he just all of a sudden started having a sore ankle and couldn't go. So hopefully that he's going to recover quickly. There's a possibility he does go tonight. But I also at this point, he needs to see, like, this team's in a horrible downturn. He needs to figure out if he can play. Are you hurt or are you injured? And if he can get out there and play, he needs to play because this team needs to stop what's happening, like right now, or this thing is going to hit 9 or 10 games.
If it was a playoff game, probably wasn't the
Yeah.
the wisest thing.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That's odd. That's odd.
It's odd that Alvin said if this was a playoff game. I mean, look.
No. It's odd that he's not playing.
Yeah,
nothing happened. Like nothing happened. He just ankle sore.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I got to be honest with you. It's a little strange, especially like it never showed up on the injury report initially, and so this is one of those head scratchers. But look, if a player says he can't go, and he says that his ankle hurts, I don't know that we're gonna call him out. He's a heavy minute guy. He's a guy who's playing 35 minutes a night on most nights, and if he can't go, I guess he can't go. But at this point, with Terence Davis out as well, this backcourt all of a sudden is starting to look really lean, and I don't even know which way that they would go with the starting lineup if Fox can't play, because Terence Davis has been starting the last couple. You can go Buddy Hield. You can also go Davion Mitchell. Like, you got a bunch of different ways you can go here.
James, what do we do with the nonsense that we saw last night? Like that, it's like we keep talking about rock bottoms and turning points, and this team keeps going, let's do another rock bottom.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was so disappointing. I like to usually take those games and just, crumple them up and throw them away. But I haven't seen anything like that. That's the worst loss that I've ever seen in my 12 years covering the team. It was pathetic. It was beyond unacceptable. I mean, it was just like horrific to watch. It was a team that just had no business being on the court with another team. And it wasn't even, the missed shots. That was one thing, right? From the opening tip, they got beat like 3 times in a row down the court in transition. And I asked Alvin about it in post game, and he said, look, it's not the shooter that should get back. It's the opposite side. And I guess I can get that a little bit, but that also tells me that might be a reason why they get beat in transition quite often, because you never know when Buddy Hield's going to hoist up a bad shot. And that means that his guy on the other side doesn't know he's got to get back, because no one would expect you to throw up trash. And all of a sudden, that's what you're doing. And so, like, again, I think it's tough to write recaps on these games because everyone was so bad. Harrison Barnes, I think, started, like, he finished 1 of 12.
Yeah.
Davion Mitchell was just pressing so hard, trying to make something happen, and he couldn't hit anything. Buddy Hield to use one of his terms, he just tricked off the game completely. And he ends up with 11 points and maybe thought good about himself, but walking around laughing and yucking it up with the Celtics after just getting club by like 53 points. Like, the quicker they can make changes to this roster, the better. Like, I almost wish that they could just, forfeit a couple of games and figure out what they're going to do and just take losses and trade people and then come back. Of course, the league doesn't allow that, but at this point, it's horrible. It's horrible to watch. Like, someone pointed it out in here in the chatty house that, like I tweeted out early, if you're racing home to watch a game, pray for traffic. Like, you don't need to watch this. Like, no one needs to watch this. I mean, it's bad. And so, like, I'll keep live tweeting so you guys don't have to watch. How about that? And, that's the best I can do for you, because I certainly, like, the whole thing is a mess. Everything is a mess.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough to watch. And once again, we're in this situation. If you're the Sacramento Kings, not just the team, but the franchise, the business, where there's no reason to race home and watch the Sacramento Kings. Like, we'll do it because we love the Kings. We love the basketball. We love having them here. We're gonna do it. But man, for those that are kind of on the fence, they don't even have like a good effort to look forward to. And that's got to be taken care of, like you said, like now. Like, even if you got to, like, we're not playing in Atlanta today. What I mean? Let's figure out what we need to do to change the product that we put out there. The product. It don't even have to necessarily turn into wins right now, because I'm sure a majority of the fan base don't want them to win at this point. They're looking, let's get a high draft pick. But just the product has to change, man. This is crazy.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me too is that at some point you're going to start damaging some of these players, right? Like, and I don't mean injury wise. I mean, you don't want them to lose their spirit, and you don't want to lose that want to win. And that's
here we call it, we don't want them to lose their smile.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? So, like, I asked Tyrese Halliburton about it after the game, and he was so good about it. Like, his answer was spectacular, and he promised to fix it. Like, he said, I'm going to be here and I'm going to fix it. But just, when you're in a media session, it's like you're looking for things. And my concern is that you're going to, like, that De'Aaron Fox is already damaged and that you're going to start seeing it with Ty. And that's where it's like, look, man, it's not about making a change because we're yelling and screaming. It's about making a change because it's the right thing to do. And if you don't do it, like, this is going to get worse, and it could last for years, longer than it already has. But, like, you could do further damage by ruining young players that you currently have. And I would be very concerned that we're already reaching that point with De'Aaron Fox, where, game 48 in the season, he's got a sore ankle and misses 2 games. They're just mystical. And, like, that's, if you're a gamer, you get out there and play. And, that I think that Fox has always proven to me that he's a gamer. So I know there is something there, but at the same time, like some of these guys probably need a mental health break. They probably wish they were doing the Ben Simmons thing and just taking, the first 40-something games off. I just think it's, it's tough. It's tough to be there. It's tough to watch it happening. It's tough to have conversations with these guys every single night. And then, it's also tough to there's only like 2 or 3 voices at the most asking questions in these situations. And that's not fun either. It's not fun for me because it's like, we should have other people thinking about this and asking questions and demanding answers just like some of us are. But we aren't getting them. That's for sure. Not from anyone outside of a player who just got walloped in a game, or how what Rashawn Holmes said, we got whooped. Yeah. Good old fashioned whooping.
Yeah, that is him and Rashawn and Alvin had very similar opening statements. Mm-hmm. What do you think about what Alvin said yesterday? Because I feel like he tried to shoulder some of the blame for what happened yesterday, and talking about himself and the coaching staff, and like this type of loss doesn't fall just on the players.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do though? Like I get what you're asking there, because I asked him specifically, did you see this coming? Mm-hmm. Because normally you can see this coming. Like if your team is quit, You see it coming. But this season, like, it really, really is totally feeling like was it 2014-15 when they moronically fired Michael Malone like early in the season, and then Ty Corbin stepped in, and it just spun out of control so quickly. And then they made another move, which didn't help them at all. So, like at this point, I really hope that they don't do something stupid like not know their own history and repeat the same thing and go try to find someone to fix this thing in the last 30 games of the season or something. Like, this thing is lost at this point. Like, finding a way out of this is to find a different mix of players for next season. It should not be about fixing this season at all, because this thing is a hot mess, like rolling down the street and like full flames.
It's quite the visual.
That is tough. That is tough. Me and myself and Damien, we were kind of talking about, and this is always a dangerous game. I don't want to disrespect anybody, but talking about, guys that, care and who don't care. And I have no problem saying I don't think Buddy Hield gives a damn about what goes on with the Sacramento Kings. He definitely sees himself as being gone by the trade deadline at the very least. Worst case scenario, you got to do the rest of the year, but he don't care. And I brought up an interesting one, I thought. And I don't want to say he doesn't care, but tell me what your read is on this. I feel like Harrison Barnes is done with this franchise, man. I think he's done with these guys.
Yeah, I mean, he might be done with these guys. You might be right, but it's not that he doesn't care.
No,
I know.
I think he's just his hand. So that's the other type of person there. Mo Harkless, I put in this category. Their hands, like, I can't do nothing here right now. I can't do nothing with these guys.
Well, I feel bad for Mo Harkless because he can't do anything because he's not on the court. Like, that's another frustrating thing. Like, you're sitting there watching this and just thinking, like, I could actually help. We can't stop anyone. I'm the defensive guy. Like, at what point are you going to put me in? Because these guys aren't hitting shots. So if they're the offensive guys and I'm not, and I'm the defensive guy and they're not, well, they're not doing their job either. So you might as well put me in and maybe I can slow someone down. So, look, I think that this season, again, you can even look at Mo Harkless as someone who believed something similar that I did. Mo Harkless, like, instantly got these guys together and started working out with players in LA during the offseason before he even signed a new contract with the team. He thought this team was on the right track. He wanted to come back because he thought this team was going in the right direction. And this is unexpected. Like, I mean, what are you going to have? The whole team request a trade? But at the same time, like, where is the accountability? Because I certainly know that Alvin Gentry isn't the worst coach the NBA has ever seen. And the way that this team is playing is just, they're just horrible. They're just slipping down I think I looked earlier today. I think they're all the way down to the 6th worst record in the NBA. I think they're 13th in the West at this point. Like, yeah. Like, how bad is that? Like, how bad is that's where you are, that you're literally looking at a top 3 pick, a top 4 pick, if you're lucky at all.
I think it's actually the 5th worst record.
Yeah, I've seen them 5th.
Yeah.
Detroit, Orlando, Oklahoma City, Houston, and Sacramento.
Yeah. How embarrassing is that? And I mean,
how are we so wrong? Like, how did we get like here? Like, but I know we were all cautiously optimistic. Bobby Marks came on this show and it said, if this team doesn't win 41 to 42 games, that is a massive disappointment. How were we that wrong?
You can't measure the volume of someone's heart. And I mean, at this point, like, they're showing that they don't have it. Like, that they have quit. And that's what they showed under Walton. And then you get some sort of little thought that, oh, maybe they'll rebound here. No, this is just it's a group of dudes that need to be like racked, put it in a rack and someone break it. This needs to be pool balls flying all over the place. And you got to have a clean break here, because a bunch of these dudes need to go because whatever soul is left of this team, you can't let the other what's happening now impact that and have a lingering effect moving forward. It's time to start selling stuff off, however you have to do it. And I get it; they want to swing for the fence, but sometimes just leaning into a pitch and taking one, it gets you on base too. Just like this team
Feels
needs,
like that fence is getting further and further away.
yeah.
It went from 365 to about 450.
I'm not even asking for 2-out singles now. I'm asking for an HBP. That's not good.
They out here sacrifice fly. They out there playing in a softball field with no fence.
Yeah,
swinging for the fence. Like there ain't no fence there. Don't forget it. You're not hitting a home run. Please, like James said, just get hit by a pitch.
Actually, it feels like they're out on a softball field with no fence, but they didn't have enough dudes show up, so they've only got 2 outfielders. That's what this kind of feels like. So dudes are just chasing their tails all over the place, just going, where's everybody else? Why is no one else doing anything? How come this is what's happening to us? And I just it's hard. It's hard to watch.
This trade deadline is going to be the scene for Major League when Wesley Snipes tries to steal second base and he goes sliding in and he comes up about a foot short.
Yep.
Gets tagged out. That's going to be the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Monty McNair looking at the second baseman, giving him the finger. That's where we are.
Yeah.
Kings basketball, baby. Kings basketball. Good news, though. Kings play tonight. So I guess we're just right back at it, right back in front of the TV, right back to live tweeting what's going on, and we'll see if the Kings go down 14-4 to the Hawks or 25 to whatever to the Hawks. We're
gonna be here. Look, I watch them.
We here. That's what we do.
No, that's the job. That's the job. It's to.
We're the Petey Pablo song. We watch it because they're paying us for it. That's what we do. We'll step out. We'll come back. We'll talk more with 1320 Kings Insider and the creator of the Kings Beat as we get you ready as best we can for Kings basketball here on ESPN 1320. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Swear if this Aura ring tells me one more time to stretch my legs, like I can't stretch my legs. I can't go anywhere. Oh, man.
Yeah. Interesting.
I'm the only one who heard that. Jesse said, I don't know what the big deal is, guys. So the Celtics fan in the studio is not sure what's
there you go. What you guys are talking about? Everything's back on track.
Yeah.
I tell you that nothing looked wrong with Tatum and Brown last night.
Nope. No, even didn't Robert Williams had like 17 rebounds or something? It was hard to even look at their stats, and I mean it was just such a joke.
Grant Williams blocked a Buddy Hield 3-pointer.
I was laughing at.
Was that Rob? One of the Williams. One of the Williams blocked a Buddy Hield 3-pointer.
Yeah, there was that, and then that Davion Mitchell pull up a free throw line jumper that literally just like nope. He was like, oh man, I was laughing at that, and yeah.
The funniest one was Louis the King, and who was it? Neesmith. Neesmith crossed him up, went past him, and Louis the King is like, "Oh God, no!" And he reaches out and like grabs him, and he gets an and one, and Louis the King sitting there on the floor like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Kata had 2 nice blocks. Yeah,
can't say I saw either one.
See, the Lake Show, Boston had 67 rebounds because the Kings shot like 14% from the field. Like it's really easy to get rebounds when the other team misses all of their shots. Like that's like you can't look at rebound numbers for games where a team like barely shoots. I don't even know if did they shoot 30% from the field? I don't know.
30.5 and 18% from 3.
Yeah.
Which was up from the 5%. Hey, Bogey's going tonight.
Yeah.
So happy for Bogey. Bogey and DeAndre Hunter are playing tonight.
Great. Yeah. Now let's see when we find out about Fox.
Is the latest 4? Is that the literal game time decision 4, or can they really decide? Because don't they have to put the starting lineup in?
Yes, starting lineups go out at 4:30. I mean at 3:30.
Oh,
no, at 4. At 4, right at 4.
Okay. So 30 minutes before tip is what we're getting at here.
Yeah. Yeah, we might find out while we're on, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know if it's a true game time decision, or if they're just waiting this thing out. I don't know. Like,
Monty, is the trade done yet? No.
Man.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a problem.
50.
It's one of the many problems.
I feel bad for Terrence. He was really starting to come around.
I do too. I feel bad for him because he slammed his head on the fucking court, and everybody's worried about his damn wrist.
He was screaming too. I don't know if you could
man,
hear it.
he's in concussion. Oh, you could hear it.
Oh yeah, he was screaming.
Oh, you could hear it. Absolutely. Like, my man's in concussion protocol, and we're talking about his wrist.
Then he went out there and shot those free throws.
Right.
I don't
Sure
remember.
did.
Did he hit him or not? Like, he did that so he could ensure that he could come back in the game.
Right. Yeah, he was 2 of 3 from the free throw line, so he had to hit at least one.
Oh, I think they did. I think he missed the second one, and they got the rebound, and then the Kings fouled with Jemias really quick.
That's right. Yeah.
So they could get him right back off the court. Yeah. What a mess, man. Like, yeah. Just bad news for these guys. We should talk football.
12 minutes from Bob Woodard. Well, we'll do that. Hey, what do you on Friday? And we'll shoot him a message like for your Friday visit. What do you think about seeing if Sean's available, and we could do the whole Kings Beat thing together with you and Sean for the final 40 minutes or so. We'll have you for the first 15 going to 3:15, and then see if Sean wants to come on.
I think that would work as long as Sean is available, because
I'll check with him.
Sean is going to LA.
All right, we're back here. Just planning the show here with James Ham. James Ham, playing the show. Let's talk about football. Like, we continued to talk about the Kings during the break. We did find this out. Kings fans, I think, will be so happy to hear this. Bogey is playing tonight.
I'm so happy for him.
A completely clean injury report for the Atlanta Hawks. So, hey, that's good news for the Kings, because normally if they're playing a team completely depleted, you get it handed. Well, I guess that's not true, because the Celtics were. Well, it seems the Kings get their ass kicked no matter who they're playing.
It does not matter who they're playing, who's playing for the other team. Beat down ensues regardless.
Yeah, don't bet on this team. It's the last thing. Oh, I guess you could bet against them. At this point, I would start betting against them. And, it's just, you don't know who's going to show up and who's not. I thought that they played a really good game. I think that's the most frustrating thing for Alvin Gentry. And I'll harken it back to what we saw earlier in the season. The last time the Kings got drubbed like this, if I'm not mistaken, they had won like this crazy game against, I think it was Charlotte, like on a Friday night, and then they came back 2 days later against like not a very good team.
I think it was Indiana.
And they got killed. Like, it wasn't even a ball game. It wasn't even close. It was just like, what in the world just happened? And I think that was the first sign that we had no idea who at all this team was going to be from one night to the next.
Oh, no. I know. It was Cleveland. It was Charlotte and Cleveland.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Cleveland.
Yeah, that was, and then right after that, that's when the COVID stuff started hitting. We started seeing players go into health and safety protocols like nonstop. But again, I think that's one of those moments where it's like foreshadowing for the rest of the season. This is who they are. They're the team that can barely lose by what they lost by 6, but it was a really good game against the Bucks. And then come out after 2 days of practice. Like, they had days off.
Yeah.
And to come out and play like that, just absolutely horrible. Just like an embarrassment. Like, I don't even know how else to say it.
Hey, James, you're the Kings historian. We had a little fun with this earlier. Is last night this generation's version of, I always forget the score. What was it, 40-4 against the Lakers? Where they scored 4 points in the quarter? How many points did they score that quarter?
Last night?
No. Remember in the 80s or early 90s, they lost in LA like 40-4, or they lost the first quarter like 40-4.
Yeah, it was bad, and I don't think they hit a field goal, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had it was all free throws. Their points. Yeah, that was in. I want to say it's
They scored 30
91.
points in the half. Come on, man. 30 points in a half. That's damn near like 4 points in a quarter.
Yeah, and I know Alvin Gentry just talked about it. He said he put up their score, which was I think 73 to 33, and then right next to that he put up like 114 to 113. And says, anyone know what this is? And Ty said, yeah, that's the score of the Clippers game when they came back from 35 last night and won. And the other scores is our score.
February 4th, 1987. The 34-11 Los Angeles Lakers took on the 14-31 Sacramento Kings.
That's far away from that right now.
Boy, not much has changed since 1987. And after the first quarter, it was 40-4 at the Great Western Forum. The Kings did rebound with a 31-point second quarter, but they also allowed the Lakers to score 31. And the score at halftime was 71. Get this, to 35.
Look, I was about to say.
They scored 4 points in a quarter and still scored more than they did yesterday in the half.
Look, they scored more points. That sorry-ass team scored more points in a quarter.
They did.
In the entire half yesterday. Jeez.
There was a point where
They sure did.
Where Jason Tatum had like 3 3-point shots, 2 or 3 3-pointers in a row. If he hit one of them, he would have 24 to their 24. Like he had almost outscored them single-handedly early in the game. Oh, well, that wasn't even early. That was in the second quarter. Yeah, it was brutal to watch. I don't always like just looking at one game and going, oh my gosh. But when you just kind of you don't show up at all, then it's really hard for us not to like focus in and just hammer somebody. I mean, it's just not okay. It's not okay to like shirk off your responsibilities. I mean, we talked about like somebody having like short-timers disease. That's what this is. It's what it totally feels like. A bunch of dudes just thinking they're on their way out and just waiting and waiting and waiting for them to leave. And then they're still here.
Do you think that is contributing to where they are? These trade room, all of this stuff being out there, that the team is just like, what's it matter? I'm gone anyways.
No, I think it totally matters. I think, again, like we talked about it on Monday, like the big rumor on Monday was that that Philadelphia had asked for Tyrese Halliburton and a couple of first-round picks. And, you know, he comes out and he didn't have a good game for sure. But if you don't think these things impact these guys, you're crazy. Like, and that's, I think the Kings initially thought that, okay, we're going to try to attach our names. We want to be talked about. We want to be part of this. We want to jump in on any deal possible. And now this thing is taken on such a life of its own that it's just like these guys are being constantly pounded with whether or not they're going to be here. And as soon as you see that go up, you're like, okay, like I'm not really buying into this one. But that doesn't mean that Halliburton didn't get like 40 text messages from different people saying, hey, man, I heard you might be going to Philly. How excited are you? Or like, man, what's happening? Like, none of that feels good. Like, this is, maybe it does. Maybe it does. Maybe it's like, oh, God, that would be great. I would love to go to Philadelphia and have a chance to go play deep into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference and, you know, maybe play for a ring. Maybe he does think that would be great. But you also know that the chance of that happening are pretty slim. And, you know, the Kings front office certainly wants to keep a guy like that. And he said all the right things. But, yeah, it's a mess. And the personal side of it, like, to me, it always stands out that some guys know how to handle this and they just go about their business. Other guys don't. You know, I'll even say this. If there's a team that Harrison Barnes was going to go to last year, everyone thought it would be the Celtics. He just put up that performance against a team that he knows wants him. Like, Buddy Hield maybe he doesn't get that. Maybe he doesn't have that understanding that, oh, I'm auditioning for other teams, because I don't think he feels like he is. But last time I checked, he's hit, 5 shots in 3 games?
Jeez.
And that's just unacceptable. If that's who you are, then, you're going to be stuck right here in Sacramento because no one else in the league is going to want you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, if you don't understand you're auditioning every single time you step on a court, if you don't think that there are people watching, people, studying the game and looking and seeing what you're doing, seeing how you're, again, just not doing your job, not making the rotations. Other teams have scouts at these games. They have advanced scouts. Like, heaven forbid, everybody has access to the video. They can all see it. They can watch what you're doing every single play. So if you think that, that you're not part of the problem in Sacramento, or it doesn't really matter because you're probably on your way out anyways, just keep that in mind. It's like working somewhere and like putting in your 2 weeks notice, but then like stealing from that company in your final 2 weeks every day, and then going on in like social media and showing all the people all the stuff you just stole from your job. Like, hey, look at all this stuff. I'm still working, but look at all this stuff because I'm out of there. Like, no. Like, you don't think people are going to see that? People aren't going to tell somebody? Like, everyone sees it. So at a certain point, like, these guys have to wake up and understand that, like, the stink of this, it might not wash off. Like, this is some, like, lava soap stuff right here. This is, like, the good stuff. You got to go find the good stuff to try to get the stink of this off you.
James, what guys are you kind of looking forward to seeing in these situations? We saw them all last night. And, I mean, the top of the list for me is Keita. I want to see more of him and what he can do. I also want to see Louis the King, man, and see if he can be a guy that finds a way to stick in the NBA. Right now, it's kind of up in the air. Like, he dominates maybe dominated strong, but he plays really well in the G League. But when he gets to the NBA, it doesn't always seem to translate. Maybe this is an opportunity with guys down and with them maybe making some deals and kind of, going in a different direction for the season. You get a good look at these guys and kind of really figure out what you want to do with them moving forward. Who are some of the guys that are on your radar in that respect?
Yeah, to be honest with you, it's Keita. And then outside of Keita, not really. Like, do I want to see a little bit more
12
Davion
minutes of
Mitchell?
Bob Woodard?
No.
Nope. I don't need to see Woodard. I don't really think I need to see a lot more Jemias Ramsey.
Yeah.
Like, I know who you are. You pulled up for a 16-foot jumper and you missed it by 1.5 feet. Like, I can see, like, at a certain point, you have to have shown something by now. And some of these guys are showing that, that they need like a lot more time in the G League. But it's not like the Kings have a bunch of other guys out there that you're just like craving to see. Even Louis King. Like, look, I think that we've seen plenty of him at certain points. If there's going to be a moment where he could get some time, it's now that Terence Davis is out. To be honest, it would have been Terence Davis. Like, I just want to see what Terence Davis can do, like with the kid gloves taken off. Just go ahead and take the training wheels off and let him go out there and do his thing. And then at the same time, I think if we're gonna basically say that, like, this season is a loss, right? Because I think that's where we're already at. Then I need to see that Fox and Halliburton can build chemistry. I want to see those two playing nonstop every game together, build the chemistry. We've got to the point where, like, you don't need to stagger their minutes anymore because you're not winning anyways. So go ahead and let these guys build some chemistry and figure out how to play together. And then start peppering in guys that are like player archetypes, right? Guys that may not be the guy that you really want, but guys that play specific positions on the court that are like, sort of, I don't know, like crash test dummies of versions of what you really want out there moving forward. Like get some stretch, some 3-and-D guys, or just really put a guy like Mo Harkless out there and say, this is what they look like with a 3-and-D guy, except for he's not hitting his three. But that's kind of what we need a better version of, and start doing that. So, again, like Damian Jones and, this team is a mess. Like, I don't think that they have enough young talent sitting there to just like throw the towel in and say, okay, we're just going to run these guys out there, because none of these guys are going to prove to you that most of these guys aren't going to prove to you that they're NBA players that are sitting on the end of the bench.
That last name you brought up, though, I forgot about him, and I wouldn't mind seeing him in more moments. And that's Damian Jones. And if you, I'm not saying, trust me, I'm not saying trade Richaun Holmes or nothing like that. I just don't know what's going to happen, right? But even if it's just a backup role, and he goes from 12 minutes a game to 22 minutes a game, I'd like to see if you have something there with Damian Jones that you can keep moving forward. That's one guy I forgot about. I would like to see Damian Jones a little more.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're looking at Damian Jones, you're really testing out if you think he can replace Richaun Holmes. Like, if you think that he can give you some of what Holmes does. And I think as of right now, he's kind of shown us that he is, like, as we see him, he's like a poor man's Richaun Holmes. Like, he's good in the pick and roll. He's a good diver and stuff like that. But, like, if we're going to see Damian Jones and we're still going to see Richaun Holmes, that means we're not going to see Neemias Queta and, Damian Jones, like 26 going on 27. Like, at a certain point, I need to see Neemias Queta play plenty of minutes. If this is fully how this season's going, like if this season is just completely washed.
It sure appears that way.
Oh no, it's looking very, very much like it. We're heading towards that point. Yeah.
The true miscarriage of justice, as Gorilla Monsoon would say last night, is Taco Fall would have played 35 minutes last night if he was a Boston Celtic. 35 minutes of Taco Fall on the basketball floor would have made that game significantly more bearable.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen the Taco Fall versus Neemias Queta battle.
Oh,
that would have been epic. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, like, we need something to look forward to here in this second half of the season. And that's why you have to start mixing things up. You got to tear it down one way or another, whether you're swinging for the fence or you're just clearing out contracts. You got to do it, because this is unacceptable where it's heading. And I mean, it's already there. But
which one do you want to see him do? Because this was a big topic of conversation somewhere, I don't know, midway through the first quarter last night, is blow it up, swing for the fence, tank, sell everything. Where are you at with what they should do in the immediate future?
Well, I mean, in all honesty, the core doesn't deserve to be together anymore. So however many of those guys have to go to make this thing look different, it can't be one guy. Of
course not, right?
If you think it's one guy that's the problem here, then you're fooling yourself. We're talking like at least two of the big five of Fox, Halliburton, Hield, Barnes, and Holmes. I mean, and then you can throw in Bagley as well.
Yeah.
So we're looking at three out of the core that's been here for 3+ years. Has to go, in my opinion. And maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe they can't find somewhere for these guys to go. But you sure do have to try at least to mix this thing up and to break up that group, because they don't have it.
Man. Man, so one of the things that I'm sitting here thinking about when you talk about those three needing to go is, and I don't think they can, I'm not sure of any guy that can do this, but what they really need as a franchise and as a business is this is one of the reasons why I was kind of big on Cam Reddish, right? Because you need to get somebody in there that's going to get people to tune in. And I know, like, Cam Reddish isn't a star, but if you are doing your job right, with being Kings Productions or whatever, and saying, "Yo, we got this young," you hype them up, you build them up, in boxing, you build up your fighter. You know what I mean? And you say, you don't have to put them on the billboard in Doko, but you can say, "Hey, there's this young guy that's pretty talented now with the Kings, and we want to see what he's all about. He's been in a situation before where, he hasn't had an opportunity to shine, and he's going to get the opportunity. Tune in, check him out. And that's kind of what they need. And I don't know who that guy is, like in a trade. Like, that's available. Maybe they can find somebody, but that's the other killer about it is they're going to be doing these deals, and they may get like a Tyreek Evans in return, like they did. What was that? The Boogie trade, where they got Tyreek coming back, who was kind of a shell of himself at that point. And that's not going to excite anybody. We've seen that before. We know what it is. There's no hope with that one. So I think that's also a part of what they need to do with these trades is try to find somebody that they may be able to take a chance on and get people to check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really hard because I just, how many times have they done that? And the answer is too many. And then how many times do you think a guy like, oh, maybe Scalaby Sierra is a player, and then he's out of the league?
Mm-hmm.
How many times, it's the Ike Diagu effect, right? Ike Diagu puts up like 30 points in back-to-back games to finish the season, and all the Kings fans want him to sign to a 3-year, $9 million deal or something. And I don't think the dude ever plays again in the league. Like that. So I get what you're saying. But I mean, we're talking about full blown tank at that point. And this team, if they're going to go full tank, they really have to clear out a lot of dudes. They've got a lot of work to do if they're going to tank away the rest of the season.
Does that include De'Aaron?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. That how you really tank? Is to De'Aaron has to be a part of it?
Yeah, but De'Aaron's been part of this the whole time. Like, I mean, I would like to tell you that if you trade De'Aaron, that you're gonna that we'll see something different. But I don't know. If you keep De'Aaron, I'm not sure that we're going to see something different. Like at this point, it's like he hasn't proven to be a difference maker this year, and so I think that's some of the harsh reality that the Kings and Kings fans are facing. That there was a trajectory, and it got snapped off. Something happened this year where you lost your trajectory. And that's what you asked earlier, why is it this bad? Well, it shouldn't have been. Like, we didn't expect this to be a 3 seed, but you didn't expect them to be absolute trash. I mean, the difference, again, last year they were 22-26 after, at the same point that we were at coming into the Boston game, and the Kings are 18-30. I mean, how is it that team with no talent was 4 games better than this team with no depth at all? Yeah, people here like sign Harry Giles. That might be like one thing that you have in your gun. Go sign Harry Giles and let him play 25 minutes a night down the stretch. People will tune in.
Fans will love it. Yep.
Yeah, they love Harry Giles. But outside of that, like, what else? Give me Harry Giles. Give me Tyrese Halliburton. Give me Neemias Queta, and let's roll.
I can think of another big man who the fan base would love to come see.
The guy playing in Denver?
Guy playing in Denver.
Yeah. Well, I think half your fan base would love it.
But that half would really, really love it.
No, that's true. That's true.
Of course, I hope he's not released again and he can actually play in Denver moving forward. But the way these contracts go, man, who knows? Well, I was hoping we could fix everything by the time James left, and it turns out we, in fact, can't. Cannot fix 15 years of disaster. All we can agree on is it's a disaster. And I just, we said like a week ago, it's not going to be that. The Kings are going to win 1 or 2 games on this road trip. I'm not confident in that anymore. I watch this team like I don't think they're winning ever. What's the longest losing streak in league history? Because let's start to prep for that. Because it's just hard to look at this team and go, yeah, they're gonna win a game. No, that's pessimism at its finest. I just can't see it.
Yeah, but I mean, I think even that I could have fun with that. If they just keep losing, they just cash it in and like this is who they are, and they're gonna strip it down to nothing. And Halliburton's gonna average like 25 and 15 the whole way down the stretch because he's just playing all the minutes and having free run of the offense and everything else. I mean, if you really truly blow this thing up and you keep 1 or 2 of these guys, like at this point, I don't think it really matters. Like keep whoever you can, but I'm not sure that anyone outside of Halliburton is the one guy that still moves the needle for me. Like I think I'm turning on a lot more of these guys than I thought I would. Where it's just like if they're going to be ambivalent, then I would be ambivalent as well to them being here in Sacramento. And that's not typically the way that I work, because I'm so used to watching guys at least try hard. But then watching what happened in Boston was, like, I mean, if I'm snarky and making jokes on Twitter, I don't know. That's not a good sign.
That's regular for us. That's definitely new for you. Check out the Kings Beat with James Ham and Sean Cunningham here on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts from. And then, of course, head over to thekingsbeat.com and become a subscriber of James's wonderful newsletter. James, I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but whatever it is, we'll try to fix this thing on. We couldn't get it done today, so we'll try to fix it on Friday when you rejoin us.